Alright, so everyone heard my coming out story.
Right.
So let's hear yours.
So, I mean, I'll try to keep mine very brief because mine is very intense. Like, I always knew growing up that I was different, right? I didn't know what different meant at that time. So I always knew that, like even in primary school, that, somehow I just preferred to play with sometimes girlier things. Wasn't always the case. Or even at home, I always used to run around in like my mom's clothes and stuff like that. Like, yes, I know that's playing dress up, but somehow it was just a little bit different. Not that I think that, that feeling feminine made me gay.
Right.
But when I decided to come out, I was actually dating someone at the time. And, I felt secure in that relationship and who I was at myself, that I felt as though I was just lying to my friends and my family and stuff like that, because I'm extremely open with them, right? So me now coming out was a very, very, very hard decision. Growing up in the Caribbean, you always have this picture, especially in our Indian family, that picture that is painted for you of what your life is supposed to look like. And I basically was going along living out what this picture is.
The hetero norm.
Right,
Yeah.
and a lot of people don't know this, but I was actually engaged to a woman at a point in time. Let me make a point, she really was amazing. We're very cool now. But again, I went to those lengths trying to live that straight life for my parents. I felt like for all those years I was just living to please them. And I really wasn't happy. And, when I decided to come out, I remember I was at work and I felt as though I was at work with my dad, because we had the company business at that time. And we were together at the office. And I was just like, I need to just tell my mom something. I just need to get something off my chest. So I left the office, I went home. I told her I had something to tell her, and she was like, well, what? I told her I'm dating someone, and I can understand from her, it's not like, why is this such an urgent thing that I need to leave work and come and tell her? And when she was like, well, who? I remember saying, or she said something like, who's the girl? And I was like, it's not a girl, it's a guy. And then her face completely changed. And then I knew at that point my relationship with them was never going to be the same. Because to me, I anticipated, based on conversations we would have just generally had before, like also my parents were so forward thinking and very progressive in their thoughts and that kind of thing, especially the way in which we were raised too sometimes. I thought it would have just been this easiest of conversations, especially how close we were.
So she didn't say anything?
She called the dad and was like, you need to come home now. Your son has something to tell you. And we sat down there and I told him. And, it was just a lot of awkward silences and not knowing what to do. And we just left it like that as at that time. And then, unfortunately, over a period of time, things got increasingly strained, because at that time I was still living at home. And, to me, I made a decision to make things easier for myself and them, that I moved out. I moved in with some friends and stuff like that. where I stayed for a couple of years, and I thought over time this situation would have gotten better, but it got not that my relationship with my parents didn't necessarily get that much better, to say, but it got better for me in terms of how I became to accept myself, because that was an extremely long road that I walked. It was even difficult when I came out to my friends. It was difficult for me, but them, they were just like, okay, well, some of them just said they knew, and which was great. I was like, well, if you knew, why didn't tell me?
Right.
Because I just didn't know. But it really was, I mean, there's so much more intricate details to this story, but I feel as though I went through like a very difficult time. Coming out, it put a lot of relationships under strain. It also brought a lot more closeness to aunts and uncles and stuff like that, that really supports who I am. Because at the end of the day, I always tell people, you could only be yourself. And that is one thing I felt so strongly in, that all I wanted to do was just be myself. And you know, whilst it's difficult to just say, well, F you to everybody who don't, it's difficult when it's your family.
Yeah.
But you know, I was very fortunate to have friends that I call family, so which was good. You know, all of my coming out and stuff like that came after school. I was in my 20s, and I built such amazing relationships since then by me being who I am, and me not living that lie. And even my friends and stuff, they were so much happier seeing how happy I was being who I am.
Because you didn't have that on your shoulders.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, I went through a really dark period battling with depression and all those different things, where I actually at one point went through being suicidal and stuff like that, which again, a lot of people don't realize. So I understand that heartache and stuff that people go through when they reach that edge, because I know what it's like to stand there. But again, you live, you learn, and it makes you a stronger person. And that's what I try to, even when I share that story to people, the intention of it is that they understand things will always get better, and if you always keep on the positive side of things, it will get better. That's just the way I see it. But yeah, my story was it. I mean, I'm sure my story is not as bad as a lot of people, and I know that from the stories that I've heard. I mean, my parents and I, we still talk, and my brother as well. When we're closer, my brother and I are significantly closer now than we were when he now found out. We're closer now, but you know, maybe things will change over time.
So when you came out to your brother, was he not accepting?
He was not.
So he was taking the lead of your parents?
Correct. You know, but I think my brother, both and I think the same way, even though we disagree a lot, we always go back to, that's my brother.
Yeah.
And, you know, we do anything for each other. So maybe that's what took precedent in the situation. But, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is.
So what would you tell someone whose parents don't accept them and they have a hard time accepting that?
I don't know, because to me, your happiness outweighs, your individual happiness outweighs everybody else's, I think. not to mean be selfish, but in a circumstance like that, who are you living your life to please? And I think in a circumstance like that, you should do that for yourself, regardless of what other people think about you. And like in my case, I used to live my life to please my parents. And I was severely unhappy because I wasn't doing what I really wanted to do. So if there's a possibility where somebody else, that would be that advice, that you put yourself in a position where you could do what you need to do for you to make yourself happy, then great. And understand that you may have to bear that burden of what those repercussions may be.
Yeah.
But then what's the pros and cons of that? That's what you have to weigh out in your own situation. For me, it was worth doing that. Do I wish it was better? Obviously.
Of course.
But it is what it is. And I hope that it will be better as time comes around. So yeah, that's my little gay story. I mean, there's a lot more to that gay story, but that's, kind of it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I hope you all enjoyed my little gay story.